Good thing the Leafs beat the Panthers. We're probably going to be snowed in for weeks.
What are you talking about? If you looked outside, there's hardly anything.
I don't need to look outside, okay? According to the news, and they're always right, there's 14 feet of snow outside, so all we can do is just bundle up and have some snow cake.
Actually, I do have some snow cake kicking around.
Oh, cool. Can I have a... I should have seen that coming.
You ready? Big news. What? Seriously?
No pigs yet.
What? What was he doing? Wow. Bring him on. Beautiful.
This is what Tookhead looks like. Leafs win 4-3 in the shootout to the Florida Panthers. In a game that was pretty entertaining. And I'll have some news after the game recap. Christopher Stieg opens up the scoring to make it 1-0 for the Leafs, his 13th goal of the season. Marking the first time that the Leafs have scored first in over 6 months. You believe me for a second, didn't you? It's been a while. Daryl Boyce doing what Daryl Boyce does best on this goal, just being an absolute pest in front of the net. Clark MacArthur with a beautiful move, almost makes it 2-0 Leafs. Panthers get a 2-1, almost tie the game up. Both teams showing a combination of jump and rust after the All-Star break. On the rust side, the Leafs give up another odd man rush and Stephen Weiss scores to tie the game at 1. But the Leafs go back on top like that. Nikolai Kulemin with a nice wrist shot just 23 seconds later, and it's 2-1 Leafs. And that there is his 17th goal of the season. That's a career high for Nikolai. Early in the second period, and I said this in my mid-season review, which you can check out on leafspace.com, I said that Jaguar probably leads the league in goals deflected in. I say that based on no research whatsoever, but the puck is pinging around the crease. David Booth is just waiting there. He finds it and shoots and scores. Tie game at 2. Leafs get a break of their own. Thomas Kaberle at the point fires a wrist shot, banks off Mikhail Grabovski's leg, his 21st of the season, and the Leafs are back up once again, 3-2. That's a career high for Grabovski as well. And here's the thing. Leafs have been pretty bad, but they're also pretty young. Even Kessel is young, and he's counted on to be the sniper on the team. And I'm getting comments from fans like, oh, the Leafs should trade for Joe Thornton and Brad Richards, and how can we get LeCavalier? Dude, Leafs need to make a few moves, sure, but young teams get better organically. Kulemin stunk early last year. Then he improved defensively. Then he improved offensively. Grabovski, awful last year, and just making silly decisions. He learned a few things, got better, 21 goals this season so far. Even a guy like Kadri, who struggled in his NHL call-up, is a point-a-game player in the AHL. He's improving, and I can't wait to see him again. Back to the game. He's about a decade removed from being considered a young guy, but Corey Stillman ties the game up at 3 for the Panthers on the power play with less than 4 minutes left. Phil Kessel in the box for that one, and it was that kind of game for Phil. He got 2 breakaways, just amazing moves, shaking Panthers, can't bury that puck. So we go to the shootout, and David Booth does his best Mikhail Grabovski impression with the spinorama. 1-0 Florida. Tyler Bozak comes in, goes side to side, splits the wickets, and goes 5-hole on Clemenson. Tied shootout. Then Colby Armstrong comes in, the third right-handed shooter that the Leafs use in the shootout, does a little leg kick, goes forehand, backhand, back of the net. Jaguar stops Chris Higgins, and the Leafs win 4-3 in the shootout. Now, I said this on the Leafs TV postgame show after the game. I recognize Armstrong's goal. Colby Armstrong was a rookie on the Pittsburgh Penguins during the 05-06 season, the first season that the league had a shootout. Another guy who was also a rookie that year, his teammate, you may or may not have heard of him, Sidney Crosby. Well, against Montreal that season, against Jose Theodore, I didn't realize Sid's been around that long, but he comes in on Theodore, little leg kick, forehand, backhand, goal, and the Penguins win the shootout. Main difference in the goals really is Crosby's left-handed and Army's right. But history lesson aside, a key 2 points for the Leafs, because even if they're not going to make the playoffs, they just got to climb as high as possible. Would have been nice to gain 2 points on Florida, but at least they gained 1. And wrapping things up, there's some significant news in Leafland. Even though he got completely pasted in the Panthers game and had to leave the game, Mike Brown has signed a 3-year contract extension with the Maple Leafs. Mike the Honey Badger Brown, with a mustache made of victory. Last season, as part of the Phaneuf trade, the Leafs lost a mustache in Ian White. But they're locking this one down. Not the biggest guy in the world, but he's a tough, scrappy bugger that'll do anything you tell him to. Good signing in my opinion, and when the hammer falls on one nail, it turns its attention to the other. With the trade deadline approaching and Mike Brown locked up, you go, okay, what's next? So there's the question of the game. What's next? I have the same answer I think a lot of you are going to have. Sign Clark MacArthur. It's not just him that's performing well, it's the entire MacArthur, Kulemin, Grabovski line. Lock that sword up. So add me on leafspace.com. You can also check out my Leafs mid-season review, only available on leafspace.com. Add me as a friend on Facebook, or check out the Steve Dangle fan page or the Steve Dangle Show fan page, or follow me on Twitter at Steve_Dangle. Enjoy your snow cake.